Last week, I encouraged all of you, all of us, to add to our ongoing zazening a practice of saying, thanks for everything. I have no complaints whatsoever. To do this from time to time daily, especially when you first start in the morning and when you go to, before you go to sleep in the evening. Zazening is not fixing anything. From the beginning, no need to fix, nothing to fix. Hakuin Zenji reminds us, sentient beings are primarily all Buddhas. All we encounter, all you encounter are Buddha. Just this, primarily Buddha. And as Torei Zenji writes, and we recite, when I, a student of the way, look at the real form of the universe, all is the never-failing manifestation of the mysterious truth of the awakened life. In any event, in any moment, and in any place, none can be other than the marvelous revelation of its glorious light. And yet, some of us find it difficult to even say, thanks for everything. I have no complaints whatsoever. Various circumstances, times, we discover it's difficult to say that, even to ourselves, much less out loud. Please, when hearing the word real in the Bodhisattva's vow, don't get caught by the word real. Don't look for or believe in an unreal. No need to believe real as opposed to something else. Then, saying the word real or even unreal, those are fine words. Rujing Zenji says, the authentic is the basis of the illusory transformation. The authentic or real is the basis of the illusory or unreal transformation, moment, our life. So-called real, basis of so-called unreal. It's only self-centeredness, self-centered dreams, self-centered picking and choosing that leads us, that results in us, me, you, all of us, all beings, being caught in real and unreal. Makes trouble from holding to real or holding to unreal, or failing to see this authentic self, which is the basis of the myriad illusory or unreal transformations, which of course means unreal transformations are the real, are based in the real, except how and where we get caught in them and believe about them. In traditional koan practice, as we proceed in this practice, we come to a practice or a study that's called the 5 ranks. In a way, this is a lot to touch on, but I'll, in simplified terms, the 5 ranks are koan and verses that are about the interrelationship and the interpenetration of the relative and absolute. Sometimes it's called the apparent and the real and the unreal, if we use that word. Usually it's not called unreal. It's apparent and real is sometimes used in translation. Even self-centeredness, arising, passing, all our entanglements, which we can describe as relative, no problem, except when we are caught and holding to this one-sidedly, when we miss forgetting self and hold and entangle in it, then we miss what is so, miss this absolute, this real, this awake in the midst of this so-called unreal, so-called relative, so-called apparent, call it what you wish. So, Hakuin says, it's like ice and water. Ice is neither better nor worse. Water is neither better nor worse. Ice and water, not two. And yet, sometimes ice, sometimes water. If you want a cooler drink, ice is appropriate to add. If you add water, it'll cause a loss of the flavor of the drink and more. But if you want to dilute a drink, water is more appropriate. And if you put ice in, you're going to have to wait a long time to drink. This, not two. So it's water, it's ice. But if we mix it up all haphazardly, we make a mess and create difficulties. So mixing, serving drinks, drinking all day long needs and is our skillful zazening practice, doing what's called for right now in this moment. When, if we cannot say thanks for everything, do not manifest thanks for everything, thanks for this, and we are forgetting, refusing to forget self. In fact, we might not even notice self-entangling in likes, dislikes, and self, other, which we call self-centered dream, self-centered habit dream. When we cannot say thanks for everything, we are not willing to study self, much less able to forget self. And yet, it seems natural to us. I want it this way. It has to be this way. How dare them do it that way? Saying that sometimes seems true to us. It seems the only truth of this moment, and we react out of it, getting upset, angry. And if so, when we refuse to thanks for everything, refuse that, then we experience the ongoing consequence, which we all know, suffering, dissatisfaction, harming. Holding to, having, caught in, believing in complaints is holding self, is caught in self, is believing the complaints of mine, me, I. In one sense, there may seem to be no way to awaken in the midst of the myriad dharmas, much less to manifest this. And yet, right here, right now, this that we are, this that you are, this that I am, even this very holding to complaints in myriad ways, this is the opportunity of being awake. Awake in life is right here now. Zazening. We can't miss. We can't miss even in holding to self. So, holding self, studying self, opens naturally in thanking, releases complaints naturally, reveals no complaints, even as it also reveals holding on to, insisting on complaining self. This is your Zazening opportunity, my Zazening opportunity, our opportunity of bodily inhabiting this, bodily letting go, emotion, thought, self. The actual being just this moment, the real being just this moment. In the Zendo of our life, of your life, of my life, all sorts of beings and circumstances show up in that Zendo of our life, in the midst of Zazen. Young, old, following rules, following expectations, going against rules and expectations, even the rules and expectations that we just told them or told ourselves, and we're sure they know it. Facing the walls Zazening, our practice, our life, yet we, you, I, must respond as this moment as is. This being, these beings who are acting as they are, as is. You are the one that must respond, visitors to this Zendo life, in the myriad forms they show up, inside, outside. Even if we have to set limits and ask them, so to speak, to leave. And we do all this in the midst of facing the walls Zazening. You are the Roshi in the Sanzen room, and you are the disciple coming in, manifesting Zazen, presenting life, this life as is. So, thanking even when not feeling thankful. This is the opportunity right now, the opportunity of self-forgetting. Complaining, still, I have no complaints whatsoever. Thanks for everything.